Welcome to Ladies of Another View on Beck. I am so excited to be back amongst the living. It's been a crazy last week, 10 days.
Right.
First of all, I'm joined by Carmen and Jan and Patty. And Carmen and Jan and I had the opportunity to go down to Texas. Now, while we're in Texas, there was a freeze warning back home. All right. We wore our jackets in Texas. We came home and it was what, 107, 105, 107 this weekend? So it's like our weather's bipolar up here in North Dakota. I'll never get used to that.
Right.
But anyway, what an exciting time we had in Texas. We can't wait to tell you all about it. First of all, we've got guests lined up. So we'll be having guests all summer. There's just too many to get on one show. So today what we're going to do is we're going to recap kind of what we did, who we met, that type of thing. And then later in the month and in the next coming months, we'll go ahead and get these people lined up. They've all agreed, like willingly, just absolutely couldn't wait to come on the show. When they heard that there was a conservative show out there with another view, they were just all for it. Yeah. So what did you like most about the weekend?
Oh my gosh, just being around people that I've been to political rallies, I've been to party rallies, I've been to party events where there's business going on, I've been to a lot of different things like that. And you get to the point that sometimes it gets tiring to listen to speakers that you know that it's just words, a lot of it, because votes don't follow what's being said up from the podium. And just other things that it's like it's the political thing. This was not that. It was labeled for God and country. And that's really what it was. And you could feel the spirit of patriotism in the room the whole time, and such patriots there and people who love this country so much. I think that's my biggest takeaway, is just that feeling. People will forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Yes. And for me, that was this weekend.
You know, when I think back, all right, I kind of forgot. We were going to talk about the day before the event even started because, first of all, we showed up on the wrong day. We kind of booked our flight a day early, but it was a godsend. It was a blessing in disguise. We had the opportunity to go look at the area where John F. Kennedy was assassinated, and that was just beyond powerful. It just gives you the goosebumps, even to talk about it. But Jan, what did you think about that area?
The grassy knoll, I didn't even know it had that nickname. I mean, it was kind of weird. The characters we met there were so inspiring. And I say characters because they've kind of put their whole lives into that one event and sharing what they've researched, what they found out with anybody that will listen. It was kind of, it made you think in a hurry where you were and what was happening when that event took place. And we all have one of those.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I have a couple photos of the area where he was killed. And you can barely see it on the screen there, but where I have them circled, there's two X's. And the one on the left side of the screen is where he was shot the first time. The second X, right where the people are, that is where that was the fatal shot, if I understand right. But there we go again. And it's just, you know, I get goosebumps actually right now. My legs are
just hearing about it, I have goosebumps.
It is. It's chilling and it's powerful. And to hear the history and the folklore from the people on the streets, basically. Dervon was a friend of ours. We're going to go ahead. We're going to try to get him hooked up. That one might be a little bit tricky. But we have a lot of information on the JFK memorial and whatnot too. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But getting back then, that evening, we went ahead and we met up with Doug Billings, and he was so great to go ahead and take us under his wing and kind of introduce to us a lot of people. Met George Papanopoulos that night, and he promised us an interview. Jason Sullivan, who was in charge of getting Twitter rolling for Donald Trump, President Trump. He was there. He promised an interview, but it was just all in all. And then the digital warriors that we ran into those first couple of nights.
Right. Oh, and Henry Davis.
Absolutely.
Yeah, don't forget Henry Davis. If you've ever listened to him on Facebook, and we got to see him live and talk to him and hear him sing and
rap.
He's a character. He's a character.
You know, we did, I wanted to pop up a photo. It was the Oreo Express. Carmen and I ran into the Oreo Express. These gentlemen are from California. They had actually just gotten back from the Rio Grande. They'd been down there for a week documenting what's going on that Texas-Mexican border, and it is just atrocious. The things that are going on down there with all the illegals coming across. They've seen it firsthand. They had told us how what some of the cartel are doing now is they're stringing piano wire across the river so that when our people go down, the Border Patrol goes down on boats, it can decapitate them. And so it's just the traps that they've set. And you won't hear that on mainstream media. You're not going to hear it there because to them it doesn't exist. Everything's fine down at the border. But when you see people firsthand and they tell you these stories, that's the nitty gritty of it.
And just watching, they said how many children coming across with nobody. And just, I can't even fathom the heartbreak of people who are working that border, people who are having to try and deal with, it would be overwhelming.
Chaos,
Where do you put these kids? How do you even take care of them? I mean,
I know where 2 kids went. We're going to have her on our show next week, Deb Schweitzer. She had 2 foster babies that were brought over from the border. An 11-year-old and her little baby sister. All the parents, everybody was in prison for drugs. They couldn't find anybody. They got a grandmother from Mexico who hadn't seen them in a long time that came over to get her. So along these stories, this is what's happening, and
So
these
when
babies
did that-
ended up in North Dakota.
When did that happen? Like, how recent was
I
that?
just met this lady at a wedding Saturday night.
I mean, when did they?
Just recently,
Oh, wow.
and so she's saying that's terrible what's going on at the border. She'll be on the show to tell us all about
and
it.
so along that same lines, I have some friends who have relatives that live down there, and so their children went to go visit in Mexico, and it's like she was so worried. It's like you got to be careful, and it's like no. My mama said all the bad guys, they're up in America now. Mexico's never been safer, and that is exactly what a resident of Mexico told them, that it is the safest place you can be right now is in Mexico because all of the bad guys have gone north. So that might be a little stretch. But I'm just saying that is from a local down there, the way they describe it.
well, and once in a while, if you're listening real closely, the border agents are capturing unbelievable amounts of marijuana, cocaine, heroin at the border. I mean, it just doesn't stop, and now it's all accelerating. And 2,000% increase in how many are crossing the border illegally from the time Biden took office to what Trump left. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Before we go down that road, let's also take a look at the photo. Jan and I hooked up with Seth Holhouse. He is also a digital warrior, and he is one of the founders or one of the beginners of the Epic Times. And so he has unbelievable
love that.
stories. He's going to be on the show as well.
Oh,
I mean, a lot of these
I'm
guests
excited.
are going to be Zoom guests.
Right.
But the
right.
one thing that I just wanted to state, and that they all stated when we were down there, is you have got to be really careful about what information you share. When you see something on Facebook and you just don't know if it's true or not, you've really got to make sure that that's a fact before you go ahead and share it. He said there's so much conspiracy issues out there that you don't want to be caught up in that. You don't want to be one of those that shares this fake information. And that was the biggest message I think the digital warriors had brought home.
Right. Because, there were a lot of digital warriors up on stage one day there, and all of them, they had so much to add to that, just how much they research before they post. And, they're not mainstream. And thank God for that they're still doing what they do, and they're getting more and more people watching them and following them because they're bringing truth. And thank God for that.
Okay, well, we quickly got through that segment. I tell you what, coming up next, we're going to talk about General Michael Flynn, and it was pretty exciting to get his information. That's next on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
If you don't know what's going on in education in this country, then you don't know what's going to happen in the future of this country. And it's important. I'm Dr. Duke.
And I'm Katie.
Watch the Dr. Duke Show weekdays at 4 p.m. Central Time on Beck TV.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
I'm Rick Becker from No Apologies. Welcome to your after hours oasis of sanity. How can these people not see that they're just clowns?
We help simplify and educate you on things going on in the legislature and around the country.
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
But also having Lee Stack and Sid and Marty Croft stuff, and we've talked about that sometimes. It's bad.
Watch us weeknights at 9 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news. Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. So this brings us to, what we're going to do is talk about 3 of our favorite speakers that were down there. And to try to, I would like to put them all as favorites. And again, most of them have said that they will do an interview with us. So we're pretty pumped for that. But the first one we want to talk about is General Michael Flynn. Amazing, just absolutely amazing person. When you're with him, you can just feel the knowledge, but not just the knowledge, but the love. It's like he's a very faithful patriot, and I guess that's how I would describe most of the people that were down there. But we have just a small video clip that I wanted to show you.
Irregular warfare at its finest in politics, and that story will continue to be told here. But we have what we call citizen journalists, okay? Because the journalists that we have in our media did a disservice to themselves, actually more than they did to this country. They did a disservice to themselves because they displayed an arrogance that is unprecedented. And so the American people decided to take over the idea of information. Yeah. They took over the idea of information. And they did it through social media.
So he was referring to how the whole election got a little bit twisted, a lot of it twisted, based on social media and how they took it and ran and basically wouldn't do anything for Trump, just basically lied and only released what they wanted the general public to know, what the left wants to know. And so he was just saying to be careful about that. But he was so interesting. He was the national security advisor to President Trump, and so
until he got railroaded. And then part of that, it will go into with Sidney Powell too, but go ahead, ladies. Well, the excitement of being with him, getting to visit with him, feeling the energy, realizing he is just as passionate and compassionate as you see him on television or any other media source. He has a dynamic way of kind of bringing you into, oh boy, it's really hard to describe because it's all feelings. He got the crowd going in a way that made them sit up and take notice, realize that they're doing some things absolutely right and that those things need to continue, And some of the other things maybe need to take a back seat to it. And that's kind of what Mary was talking about earlier with being careful with the information that you garner and that you share, and finding out that everything is truth before you put it out as truth. Those things were pretty powerful.
Yes, they were. And the other powerful thing was we learned the phrase, and we've said it a few times, fight like a Flynn.
Yes.
And what he and his family have been through, and for those of our viewers that maybe didn't follow this very closely, he and his family were put through literal hell as far as I'm concerned. He was accused wrongly for things that, okay, I haven't got the verification, so I won't go where I was just going to go. However, he was wrongly accused on the whole piece with the Russia stuff with President Trump in 2016, and it wound up, it destroyed his career, it destroyed everything that he had financially, his assets were wiped out, he was destitute, him and his family, and he served countless years in our military and gave his life for his country, basically. I mean, granted, he didn't give the ultimate sacrifice, but what he has gone through just because he's a patriot, just because he wanted truth, just because he wanted this country to be the greatest country that it was created to be, that what he's been through and his resolve to bring this country to its greatness again, I don't know how you would ever shake that. I got goosebumps again because just being in the room with him, he just exudes that, just like Jan was saying.
You know, and the very first night that we were down, or not the first night, the second night we were down there, we did go to a banquet, and he stood there and took photographs with everyone that was invited. It was the first night, it was the VIP event. And he stood there, I bet, for 3 hours and took photos with anyone who wanted a photo. And then he ended with a small speech. Yeah, there he is. There's Jan and myself and Carmen. And all he could do, he was so calm. And he said, well, now look at those boots. Now look at those boots you girls are wearing. And it was just so funny because you sit here you are standing next to one of the most powerful men in the country. And he wants to talk about, you know, boots.
Regular things.
And just regular things. And that's how heartwarming all of them were down there, I think.
Very approachable.
Very approachable. You could talk about anything. But we also did, when I say we, I felt like it was we, but it was them. They did a fundraiser down there. And General Flynn had actually donated some T-shirts. Now we're talking like a $12 T-shirt. Some of those T-shirts went for $800 a piece, you guys. So the people that were down there, they were truly patriotic. But he has this organization called Journey Home Project, and that night at the live auction, and our own Doug Billings, right here from Beck TV, he was the auctioneer. Yeah. And so they raised over $58,000, and this was selling T-shirts and
General Flynn's bats.
And art that, like Doug Billings has behind him in his studio.
Right.
And I believe it was the charity was originally founded by Charlie Daniels, who is now no longer with us, but it kind of helps the veterans find homes and help them with their PSTD if they are suffering from it. It's just a way for them to connect the veterans with organizations that can help.
How beautiful, and all this excitement that they took the time to do something to give back to our country and give back to people that gave to our country.
Well,
beautiful.
Baseball bats going for $5,000.
And then some of them, the one that were signed, $10,000. If General Flynn signed it, there was one that went for that. And the heart of the people there, it was amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
It was. You know, I tell you, when I say I can't say enough, I honestly can't, but sometimes too, everything was such a blur down there. We'll have more videos for you guys later. There's just so much information to share this first day. But again, I can't say enough how patriot he is and how much he you know, they've all said, we're going to get our country back. We're going to take the country back, and not to worry. It's going to take time, but we're on the right track. And he couldn't do it without all of us also stepping up.
Correct.
So I don't know. It's you know, for the information that he had, and then for him to be in so much trouble, and then Sidney Powell, which we're going to talk about later, for her to go ahead and fight on his behalf to get him you know, exonerated. But there's just
you know,
too
we
much.
have each other, and we've seen some people on the left. They've been on the show that they were destroyed because they'll eat their own. At least
Yes.
here, we're like, okay, we're in this together, right?
Right.
We got
True.
each other's back.
Very much so.
Absolutely.
And what's your motive? And the motive of that whole conference was we want our country back, and we're going to earn it, and we're going to take it back. And it was powerful.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Well, with that, coming up next, we're going to talk more about Sidney Powell. We had the opportunity to meet with her, talk to her, take photos with her, get signed books from her. Just an amazing individual. Plus, Freddie Rios, that'll be coming up later as well. He gave her a pin, so we'll have that in our lighter side. But take a look at these quick advertisers, and we'll be right back after this on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Hop in the rig and go down the road with me. We'll cover local and national stories that impact you.
What happens with national debt? Does anybody even care anymore?
Do you think Governor Burgum truly understands the legislative process?
You know, I think he's got a better understanding now than he did 2 years ago.
Why in the world are we having a conversation about being anti-vaccination? Down the road with Joel Heitkamp weekdays at 5:30 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car!
How will we?
The car! Your offer's been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing.
But how will we?
The closing!
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. In this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about Sidney Powell. Now, wasn't she a delight? We got to meet her. I know you and I did the first night. Jan, did you have an opportunity?
I spoke with her briefly, but not at length.
Not at length. But yeah, just a super, super sweet gal. It was kind of funny because the first night she had her Kraken t-shirt on, and she did explain that during the event that she goes, I don't know where that came from. It just came out of my mouth that day. And it's like, it's just so funny because it was like release the Kraken. And so it was pretty cool. But then the next day she had a leather jacket on with, Sturgis, the buffalo chip, yeah, the buffalo chip patch on. So she's a down to earth kind of, just seems like an all around great gal, just very, very common. But Jan, why don't you tell us what you...
Well, just like any celebrity, somebody's always taller, shorter, thinner, wider. I don't know, sitting in a chair with all the interviews that she's done on media, I thought she was about my size. And turns out I had to do one of these. It was like, I was really surprised. She was very tall. Beautiful woman, beautiful stature. She spoke to the crowd a lot, maybe directed more at the folks that believe in the whole QAnon movement. And she wasn't dissing those people because any of them that existed in this crowd you would think are just regular patriots. They are not the quacky antennas and tinfoil hat wearers. They are not the crazies. They are just people that dive deep into the rabbit holes and end up believing some things that maybe aren't factual. She cautioned people that, you know, Trump isn't going to be president again next week. There is no military tribunal going on. The military is not going to come in and magically save us. Those types of comments, it's like we need to know that we need to really dig deep and find out what is real before we even share it with our family, let alone the rest of the public, because it's just one of those things that it can just spread like wildfire. And if we're grounded in truth, truth always wins.
Great. She did speak highly about her family background and just the being part of God's family. So she's a patriot and she's very Christian. And I think that was the common thread with everybody down there. They were just very, very patriotic and believed in the Lord. Well, the name of the Roundup for God and Country Patriot Roundup. So it was the Christianity was woven throughout the entire weekend. Yes, but for those of you who don't or haven't followed, she was the attorney who fearlessly defended and against the deep state for General Flynn and got him exonerated. And so it took a lot of guts and
a lot of going up against a lot of powerful organizations and powerful people to do it. And thank God for judges that were willing to hear cases and hear them openly. And, you know, because some of the cases have been shut down right up to the Supreme Court level. And so they're still fighting, they're still working. That's part of taking our country back, is getting our justice system to hear cases that are real. She talked about, it was a surprise to me when she talked about the night that she was in President Trump's office, when I think it was the night after all the election fraud had taken place, and his general counsel was in there, a lot of the attorneys for the White House were in there, and he wanted to appoint her special counsel, and he was asking his general counsel, can I do that? And they were all just talking, you know, and he said, can I appoint her my general counsel? And finally they said, well, you can, but nobody's going to pay any attention to her. And she said, I don't know why they said it, I don't know why that happened, but at their bidding, then President Trump did not appoint me general counsel, even though the mainstream press may have put that word out. It never happened. And that was okay by her because that just gave her more resolve. You could see it in her stature, that she would continue to fight for this country and continue to fight to expose the fraud that happened on election night. And I don't care who won. I don't care. I want my country back where I know votes are votes, and everyone counts for the person that got voted for, period. And if a Democrat wins, that's great. If a Republican wins, that's great. I just want to know that it's legit.
Yes.
And that's what she's fighting for. That's it.
It is. It is. And she's fighting hard, you guys. It's like she's up against, you know, a lot of power and a lot of money. And it was kind of funny because I bought a book from her. And a lot of people said, oh my gosh, she's selling autographs. And you know what? She was. But that is her legal defense fund. She's doing this. It's like she's not, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say I don't know where she's getting her money from or where she's getting paid. But the way I understand it, she's doing a lot of this on her own. And so the book was $50. If you wanted autographed, it was $100. If you wanted a personal message, it was $150. But the thing is whether you bought the book or the autograph or the signature, whatever you wanted, all of that money goes to her to help defend this country. And so for her to go ahead and do that, it's like, give her a tip.
DefendingTheRepublic.org.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
defendingtherepublic.org. Yep. And she has a lot of attorneys that have come to work with her that are doing it pro bono because they want to help save this country as well. And you don't hear about that very often in the mainstream, that there are attorneys willing to do pro bono because they want to save a country.
Especially of that caliber.
Right,
Right.
Exactly.
So I think we have a photo of, I think you and I were with Sydney one night.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
And that's her Kraken t-shirt. It was Release the Kraken.
Yeah.
And so she's got, oh gosh, it was just funny. But she was selling coffee mugs and all kinds of things. But that's just as common as, I mean, she was just so approachable. And you could visit about anything. And she was happy to be there. We were happy to be there as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And when we talk about this, there was a lot of very powerful people there. But
they needed to be protected.
And they needed to be protected, is right.
And we had some guests on our program a little while back from Praetorian, which is a security company that brings in former military, former police, people that are from former government workers, IT people, that type of thing. And they bring them in from all over the country for specific events. I had the opportunity to run into the gentleman that organized it for this particular event. And it was one of those chance meetings at an elevator. We got a chance to visit. He also will be on our show in upcoming weeks. But they are actually looking for more people of that caliber, and they will be searching in every state in the union because events happen everywhere. And they make sure that they had security dogs, they had bomb sniffing things, they had people trained in hand-to-hand combat, they had crowd control people, so all kinds of different expertise. And they earned their keep while they were there. If your badge was turned sideways, you didn't have it on, you didn't get in. And there were some media people that were expelled that were not supposed to be there from the mainstream media, who had either gotten a badge illegally or they had not purchased entry to the event and were there just to do smack reporting. I'm not sure what you would call it, but it was twisted. Yeah, there you go. It was very twisted, the things that came out, especially about General Flynn. And I'm sure it's been everywhere in mainstream media, and 99.9% of what was printed was not even close to true, because we saw it, we saw what was said, we saw how things played out, and what was portrayed in the media was just disgusting. I'm sorry.
You know, and that's just it. Whenever, on that subject, hate to go down this rabbit hole, but when someone says something that's in jest, you know, kind of as a joke, it's taken, they print it that it was serious, that he was serious about it. And that's the sad part about the mainstream media. They will take your words and they will twist them to make it favorable.
President Trump. He's got a sense of humor, people. Just most people don't get it, you know, especially the mainstream media.
Right.
Yeah.
But Patty, next time we have something like this, you need to tag along.
Well, I'm glad I got photos. I was at a little family get-together with grandkids, and Mary kept true to your promise. You did send me pictures, and I was excited for you guys. I love just sitting here listening to everything. And I'm sure our TV audience does too.
Yeah.
Because this is so informative, very uplifting too.
Yes, and Sidney Powell has said that she will be on. General Flynn promised he would be on. And so, you know, fingers crossed that everything works. Sidney's off for a month, so she was going to take a vacation. But other than that,
much needed, I'm sure.
Much
yeah,
needed.
Very much needed. So anyway, but with that, and on our next segment, we're going to talk about Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, and he was pretty amazing too, right after these messages on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Hop in the rig and go down the road with me. We'll cover local and national stories that impact you. What happens with national debt? Does anybody even care anymore? Do you think Governor Burgum truly understands the legislative process?
You know, I think he's got a better understanding now than he did 2 years ago.
Why in the world are we having a conversation about being anti-vaccination? Down the Road with Joel Heitkamp weekdays at 5:30 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Back. This segment, we're going to talk a little bit about Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. Amazing. He got up on stage and it's just the whole place just kind of lit up again. And I think we have a photo of you with Alan West. Can we pull that up real quick?
Probably.
There it is.
Yep, that's Carmen, all right.
I think I was talking to the cowboy for Trump while Carmen was off taking photographs of Alan West.
Well, I happened to see him and I just thought, you know, you don't get this chance ever, probably again in a lifetime. And this is a man that I have admired since probably 2008, and I'm not stretching it when I say that. He has been a hero of mine for a very long time, and he has stood for this country come hell or high water. He has stood for this country, and he has taken some really big hits because of it, you know, right from the military on down. And, you know, he showed up, and he's actually the head of the Texas GOP. And so he's the chairman of the Texas GOP, and that's kind of a thing within itself because he's such a patriot, and the fact that he represents the Republican Party in Texas at the national level, that's just awesome to me.
What did he talk about? Was he a speaker?
Yes.
He was a speaker, and he again talked about for love of country, but he made us all stand up and do the oath that all the government.
But why?
Well, explain.
Jan can explain.
Okay, Jan, go ahead.
No, don't make me explain.
You
Go
do
ahead.
it.
I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, Carmen?
Well, he talked about, it was Memorial Day weekend and the sacrifice. I'll start crying.
Yeah.
But the sacrifice that our families and our soldiers make for this country, the astronomical sacrifice that they make so that we can burn flags, so that we can trash this country, so that we can watch rioters burn and loot, and that's their, if they don't get arrested, I guess that's their freedom. But just his love of country. And he started talking about earn it. And he talked about earn it, your freedom, earn it. And he just was passionate about it. And then that's when he went into this.
Well, he was talking about, because it was Memorial Day, and with Memorial Day, we are to remember the veterans that served our country. He said, these people have died for you, for us, for our freedoms. Earn it. Now, we all have to earn that. Those people are laying in the ground. We have to earn their death, their sacrifice. Because, and that's how powerful it was. It was just, I have goosebumps right now. I'm just.
And I was crying when he was talking too.
Yeah,
So,
it was unbelievable, you guys. And it's like, you know, and then we were all shouting, earn it, earn it, earn it. It was unbelievable, just how powerful.
But to just have him, all of a sudden when he's speaking to you, say, okay, everybody stand up. Do it right now. Everybody stand up. Repeat after me. And
I'll read it
the
for
whole
you.
thing.
And it says, I, and then of course state your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. And the whole place just erupted because it was just that patriotism. It was just that feeling that it is up to us to take our country back. You know, we can't sit back and be armchair quarterbacks and say, you should have done this, or you should have done that, or you should do this, or you should do that. We all have to do this together if we want to take our country back. And we're on a good start. We really are. And every one of the speakers gave us hope.
But we're behind.
We're
way behind. We spoke with some people from California, and they were like, well, what do you mean take your country back from the bottom up? Well, that means you get involved, attend the school board meeting. And if you don't attend it, run for it. Or run for city commission, be the mayor, run for the legislature, county commissioner, all of these positions, park board, dog catcher. Just get involved so that you have some sphere of influence in how your country, your city, your state, your county is run. Get to know your sheriff.
Exactly.
You need to know them like you know the back of your hand. You need to know, are they constitutional? Will they stand up for you versus standing up for the state or the federal government? Because the county sheriff is the one where the buck stops here.
Well, it actually starts there. Not only starts, or stops there, but it starts there. The county sheriff is the most powerful man in the country. And let me repeat that. They're the most powerful man in the country. However, the only reason the federal has so much power over them is because of funding. We're not going to pay for your roads. We're not going to pay for your schools. This is all federal aid that pours into your counties. And so they hold that over. Oh, you want a new highway? You need your interstate fixed? Oh, that's too bad. You don't support this. And just like years and years ago about the traffic, what was it? When I think Montana didn't have a speeding.
They didn't have a speed limit.
Didn't have a speed limit. And then it's like, well, we're going to take your federal funding away unless you make a speed limit. And so then I think it was 80 during the, or no, 80 at night, but you could still go as fast as you want during the day, if I remember right.
And I love Montana.
And so I'm not saying this to go ahead and promote speeding. I'm just saying that federal money is attached to everything, and that's why we're saying you have got to get involved, because that's what the left has done for the last 20 or 30 years. They've infiltrated your school boards and your city commissions and your county commissions, which reminds me, Mandan School Board, get out and vote, because there is a very liberal woman that is running for the Mandan School Board, and I just had to slip that in there. We cannot let her in.
That election is tomorrow, people. Anyone in Mandan, anyone who has kids in Mandan and you live in the Mandan district, please go out and vote, because it's an off vote time. I mean, most people aren't going to show
part
up,
of the regular
but
election cycle.
There are some people running that do have backing from things like teachers unions and things like that, and maybe they bring your ideas to the table, and if so, vote for them. And if the candidates running aren't bringing your ideas, and if you go on Facebook, you'll find quite a bit of information, probably on all of them, and just do your own homework and research those candidates, and please go out and vote. Get involved in helping our kids in our schools. Let's start there.
Yeah, call the candidates, ask them questions. Do you support critical race theory? Do you support transgenderism? Do you support letting boys into girls' sports? All of those issues, you can ask them anything. The curriculum is critical.
It is, absolutely, and find out who they are, because I know one of them that's running, her name is Ellie Shockley. She went ahead and she had on her own Facebook that we should thank Burgum for reversing the transgender, so now boys can perform in girls' sports.
For vetoing.
And for vetoing that. And so I don't think that's who I want on my school board.
And the Florida governor just signed the opposite. He signed that into law, even though there's a lot of threats, you know, that boys will not play in girls' sports. You're going to be playing in the sport that you were born into. And I'm encouraged. There's some videos I hope that later on in the week we can show of these parents who are not just rolling over and playing dead. That these school board members work for us, and we forget that.
Right.
We forget, but we have to be informed.
Right. We kind of went down a rabbit hole there,
Yeah,
but it
what
is
is
so important.
But
to
that's
get
what
out
he
there.
encouraged,
Right.
you know.
Exactly. That was the whole point of this conference, too. It's like it starts at the grassroots, and that's our local communities. And we have been fat and lazy for way too long, and look where it's gotten us. And North Dakota is not immune to the things going on in the rest of the nation.
Not at all.
If it isn't here yet, it's coming.
Oh, it's here. It's
yeah. And you know, do you know what your kids are being taught in school? Everything's on a computer now. Are you able to get in? Do you take the time? It's critical that parents and concerned citizens learn what is being taught in our classrooms. And if you're good with it, great. If you're not, then we need to get involved.
And networking. It's so important to network because sometimes it is hard to get the information.
Correct.
So network and watch Ladies of Another View on Beck, right?
Right. We're
There
part
you
of
go.
that network.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, find out who's running. I don't know all the candidates running for the Mandan School Board, but it is important for you to get out there and vote the conservative ticket. Absolutely, 100%. We don't want the critical race theory, and we don't want transgenderism or the boys playing in girls' sports. I mean, how fair can that be? Think about that. Is just ridiculous. Play in the sport you were born in. Call yourself whatever you want, but don't make me go there. But anyway, coming up next, we're going to show some photos of Freddie Rios and how his pin made it to Texas. That's coming up next on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks.
I'm Rick Becker from No Apologies. Welcome to your after hours oasis of sanity. How can these people not see that they're just clowns?
We help simplify and educate you on things going on in the legislature and around the country.
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
But also having Lee Stack and Sid and Marty Croft stuff, and we've talked about that sometimes. It's bad.
Watch us weeknights at 9 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. This brings us to our lighter side. And I guess I sigh because you guys, there's so much information, but yet some of it is so foggy. You know how, and I forgot my notebook, the notebook that I had all my good notes in. I forgot that at home today, so I'm sitting here. But there were so many speakers for 3 days we sat there, and it was, and just when you thought you heard it all and learned enough, the next one is even more powerful.
Right.
And again, the patriotism down there, it's just, I can't explain it.
Oozed.
You have to
It
feel it
oozed.
because I had actually talked to Derek, the CEO here of Beck, and he said, "Well, how's it going down there?" I said, "Oh my God, Derek!" I said, "I can't believe it. I said, "You need to be here. You should get down here." He goes, "Well, I've been to those already." I said, "No. This is different." Thinking that it's different, but he has been to a lot, so I'm not throwing him under the bus. I'm just saying, holy cow! And I've been to conferences, but I have never been to one like this. I've been, like you said earlier, we've been to the political conventions for the last how many years we've gone to the conventions, and it's like, it was nothing as powerful and moving as this past week was.
But don't you think that things have changed? That really people are getting invigorated and energized. So we have turned a corner. So when Derek says they have these all the time, hallelujah, right?
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. You bet.
This
You
is
bet.
really going to wake people up and inspire us.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of conferences going on just about every weekend or every other weekend somewhere. And Doug Billings is actually going to have a big one going on in Branson, Missouri over the 4th of July. And then also the same one that we just attended, the For God and Country Patriot Roundup, they're already planning another one down in Las Vegas. Yeah, Las Vegas for Labor Day weekend. And so I'm pretty excited about that. And
that one's going to be For God and Country Double Down.
Yeah,
that's
Double
right.
Down, that's right.
Vegas.
That's right. So, but if anybody can make that, it's worth every penny. What was the fee? I think $500 for an entry fee. If you wanted the VIP, it was $1,000. But it gave you access to a lot of speakers.
Pretty much just bring your toothbrush because all your meals were provided,
Yes.
all of the speakers, all of the entertainment. Everything.
So that's not just admittance to the event. I mean, they're taking
they
care
fed
of
you
everything.
three meals a
Yes.
day. Three
Yes.
meals a day. So it really is.
And when you
worth
think
it.
of some of the conferences, even in North Dakota, I mean, sometimes it'll be your employer that sends you or whatever, but you know, it's not, that wasn't an out of line price when you start looking at the quality of the people there, and that was really very reasonable for what
Plus
we got.
meals.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, especially at the venue that they had it at.
Yeah.
One of the cute things that had happened is while we were gone, I think you guys had a rerun. It was Freddie Rios. He is the gentleman that makes the beaded flags, the hat pins or lapel pins or whatever. But anyway, so I had talked to him a few days before the event, and I said, Freddie, what if I got some of these to some of Donald Trump's friends? Oh, that would be amazing. Now, I should have had that video on here, and I didn't, but we'll show it to you another time. Anyway, I want you to take a look at Sidney Powell and take a peek at her cowboy hat. That is one of Freddie's pins. That is Sidney Powell at her book signing wearing that pin. And the minute I gave it to her and I showed her the video of Fred, she took it out of my hand, she takes the pin backs off, and she put it on her hat herself. And then she poked herself too. I felt so bad for her, but she poked herself a little bit. But just, she was so thrilled. And that would have been on, I think, Saturday or Sunday. Sunday. And then she wore it that night because we had like a country hoedown type thing that night, and then she wore it on stage the next day as well. So she wore that hat pin, and I have a feeling it's going to stay there. And then she also had that Sturgis buffalo chip patch on her jacket, or on her vest, so that was pretty cool too. But then take a look at this next guy. His name is Leonard Crowell. He is a 95-year-old veteran, and he was on the shores of Normandy, which was D-Day, which was yesterday, June 6th.
Wow.
And he stormed that beach, but he was so thrilled, and Carmen helped put that on his cap. He's 95 years old. He drove down there. And on the very last day, I mean, because he had interviews with quite a few different people, and on the last day he said, we all got on the boat, we jumped out, we knew 90% of us weren't coming back, but you did it anyway. You did it for your country.
Wow.
And it very
goosebumps.
very
me too.
powerful.
And then, did you, I don't know if you two were around when he said, and I'll get it together, but he said, oh, I've never been treated so good in my life. He said, everyone here has been so very kind to me.
He was so genuine. I mean, when I went up to speak to him, he just was very open. He gave me a hug. He let me do selfies with him. I mean, he was just delightful. And he and his wife have only been married for 3 years.
Wow.
Just 3 years. And it was such a heartwarming story. They'd met in a senior center. Yeah, I was going to say retirement home, and that wasn't right.
Yeah, and they both said, no, we're never going to get married. Well, they got married. But with both families, and it's like, who do you invite? And there's extended families and whatnot. They were both widowed, and so they eloped to Oklahoma. so what a great story. But they also promised an interview. So we have less than a minute. Just a parting thought, ladies.
Oh, just watching those two dance on that dance floor, it took me back to my parents and how they used to get out on the floor. But 95 and 83 years old, and they're just boogieing. It was awesome.
Yes.
It really was.
It was something that you need to try to incorporate in your life if you can at one time or another.
Absolutely.
Well, it sounds like this just energized everybody, young and old.
It was.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And again, we're going to have a lot of these speakers lined up in the future. So stick around the next few months. We're going to get them on. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Ladies of Another View on VAC.